Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to week number 4, which we will be covering cellular respiration and photosynthesis this week. Let's take a look at what we learned about last week and then what we've got going on this week. So last week we learned about classification of organisms and types of cells. And what that means is you learned about prokaryotic cells, which are bacteria, versus eukaryotic cells, which are all the other types of organisms, plants, animals, fungi, and protists, and how the cell structures are different. So, for example, in bacteria, there are no nuclei, there are no mitochondria, no Golgi apparatus, etc. In eukaryotic cells, you do find these organelles, because eukaryotic cells are bigger. So they have little compartments in them called organelles. We also had great discussions about antibiotic resistance in bacteria and how antibiotics target structures in bacterial cells that we either don't have or are different in our cells. So that was a great discussion that we had. You also talked about how antibiotic resistance occurs and how we help this along. What do we do to encourage antibiotic resistance in bacteria? Well, we overprescribe antibiotics. We take them too much when we don't need to take them. They're used in our livestock. I love somebody posted the correct usage of antibiotics in this country. 80% of the antibiotics produced in this country are used in our livestock. So that gives you an idea of how much is actually used in cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, etc. And the livestock that we use to produce our meat and eggs in this country. Somebody also posted, can't remember right now, maybe it was Sean, but someone posted the bacteriophage video using bacteriophages to control the growth of bacteria. Well, what is a bacteriophage or a phage? It is a virus that preferentially attacks and attaches to and attacks a bacterial cell. Phages do not infect human beings. Okay, so if you listen to that video, if you read anything about phages, don't let it scare you, because phages cannot hurt us. They do not infect us. Okay, we had great discussions about antibiotic resistance, which I appreciate in the discussion section. All right, so this week we're learning about cellular respiration, and I'll get into that more in just a minute. And photosynthesis. You need to at least skim the chapters in your textbook, chapters 6, 7, and 8, in your free OpenStax textbook, Biology 2nd edition. So make sure you do that. Read the Module 4 overview and watch the videos, including that video on what happens to carbon dioxide once it gets into the ocean. That's really a good video because it helps explain that the ocean is a good sink for taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, but then something else happens. So watch the video. Your discussion board postings are the same as they are every week. That initial post is due on Thursday night, and your response posts are due by Sunday evening. 2 response posts, completely unique. Cannot just copy and paste the same one to 2 people and have those turned in by Sunday evening. So this week, the first question for the discussion board posting is, are cellular respiration and photosynthesis processes opposite from each other, complementary, or both? Now here's a clue. When you see a question like this and somebody says, or both, you know that's the answer. Otherwise, they would have left that out. They would have just said, are they opposite or complementary? All right, so you know the answer must be both. So let's talk about these for a second. Photosynthesis is the life process that happens in autotrophs where food is made by using sunlight and carbon dioxide. So any of these organisms grab carbon dioxide gas out of the air, use sunlight for the energy to smush all these carbon dioxides plus some hydrogens together to make glucose molecules. So you start out with sunlight and carbon dioxide and you end up with glucose. Cellular respiration, on the other hand, is a process where you break down foods, including glucose, in the presence of oxygen many times, that's called aerobic respiration, to produce ATP molecules. Okay, so at the end of cellular respiration, the whole goal is to make ATP molecules. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. ATP contains the energy that can be picked up by enzymes. And remember, we've talked about enzymes. Enzymes are those proteins that carry out all the biochemistry in your cells. So something has to run these processes, and that would be ATP. So oxygen is required most of the time for cellular respiration. Remember, I said that's aerobic respiration. Where does that oxygen come from? Well, the oxygen in the atmosphere, our atmosphere is about 20% oxygen, has come over the years from all the organisms that do photosynthesis. A waste product of photosynthesis is oxygen. So it's picked up by cellular respiration processes, and you break down food like glucose to make ATP molecules. So you can sort of see how they are opposite, but are they also complementary? One hint here is that if you look at a plant does not only do photosynthesis. It does photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So why does it do that? Seems like they're opposite reactions and processes. Why would they do both? There's got to be a reason for that. So do look that up. You're also going to answer the question, because we're asking. You're going to answer the question, are autotrophs the foundation of all ecosystems? All ecosystems. So autotrophs are self-feeders. That means they make their own food. That means they do photosynthesis. So are they the foundation of all ecosystems? Every one that you can think of? So you will be taking a look at that, and also include the ecosystems that are aquatic or based on water. Is the pelagic ocean, the wide open ocean, founded on autotrophs? Let's see what you come up with there. And then in your response posts, you're going to talk about the release of carbon dioxide, how we release it excessively now because we burn fossil fuels, and the consequences of it. This is going to be a theme through this whole course because you really need to understand this, and especially if you're an environmental science major. So that will be important. Okay, then you've got a journal entry, and you will be discussing aerobic versus anaerobic respiration processes. I have a short video on this. This will help you. Don't just Google this and find glycolysis versus oxidative phosphorylation. No, that's not what we're asking for here. Aerobic respiration versus fermentation or anaerobic respiration, because those are both anaerobic processes. Compare and contrast these. How are they the same? How are they different? That sort of thing. You also need to discuss how ancient glycolysis is. If you look at the word glycolysis, glyco means sugar, lysis means to break. So glycolysis is the chemical pathway, biochemical pathway, where glucose is split into two molecules of pyruvates, two pyruvates. And what's produced then is two ATP molecules. This is the first step in anaerobic respiration, fermentation, and aerobic respiration. But you need to figure out whether this could be considered the very first cellular respiration process. And you will be discussing ethanol used as a biofuel. If you go to the gas pump these days, you will see on your gas pump that it says this gasoline may contain up to 10% ethanol. So you know ethanol is being used as a biofuel. So you're going to discuss that. All right, and then you have milestone 2 for your final project. Make sure you use the guidelines and rubric to do this assignment. This is a big assignment this week. It is big because this is the most important section of your final project. You do put it in outline format, but you have to have enough information in your outline that I know that you know what you're talking about for these different sections. Okay, this is all the biological concepts about your final project. So how does biology and biological processes and concepts relate to your particular topic, whether it's climate change or eutrophication of a lake or water pollution or air pollution, whatever you have chosen that we have agreed upon. So just as I'll quickly go through these. Level of organization. So does this affect every living organism on the planet? Does this affect the biosphere, or does it affect one particular ecosystem or one species or one population of one species? So where in the scheme of things does this land, this particular problem that you're talking about? Analysis. What are 3 biological concepts or processes that have to do with your topic? Okay, so evolution, adaptation, predator-prey interactions. Oh, goodness, there's so many. Cellular respiration. There's just so many that you can pick from. So you're going to pick these 3 biological concepts that have to do with your topic. What are they? So explain what these concepts or processes are. And then section C, what's the relationship of each of these concepts to your particular topic? Boy, this is going to be really important. That section C is just the crux of the whole project there. Characteristics of life. How do the characteristics of life, how are they affected by one of your biological concepts? Read through that. And also, what is the impact on health? Impact on human health, or impact on environmental health, or on both? Okay? So, milestone 2 is very important. It's the section 3 of your final project. Put it in the correct format. Follow the guidelines. So you've got a lot to do this week. You've got discussion board postings, you've got a journal entry, and you've got your milestone number 2. Make sure you get all this in. We're in the middle of the term, so this is a crucial point in the term to get your work done. Okay? And if you have any problems, any issues this week, please let me know. I'm always just an email message away. I will email you within 24 hours, I promise. I always have, always will. Just let me know if you're having some issues. If you can't figure something out, if milestone 2 just doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to you, email me. I can talk you through it. We can work through it. So let me know if you're having any trouble, if you're having any issues, if you don't understand something, if you don't know whether you're on the right track or not, please let me know. m.sigmon@snhu.edu. And I hope that you have a wonderful week this week.